Prime Minister, drug consumption rooms got the go-ahead in Glasgow yesterday for a pilot project. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, do you think?
Well, from a UK government perspective, we're not supportive of them because we think they condone use of drugs and there's no safe amount of drug usage. When it comes to what's going on in Scotland, we respect the independence of the Advocate General in Scotland, and obviously that is a policy for them to put in place. And I think they've also said that a blanket ban would be unlawful, but look, if they decide to not prosecute in particular cases, that's a decision that we will respect.
So you wouldn't block it?
No, that's exactly, as I said, we respect the independence of the Advocate General in Scotland.
Well,
whilst disagreeing, as I said, we disagree with the drug consumption rooms elsewhere because we think they condone illegal drug use, and that's not something that we think is right, but obviously we respect the independence of the Advocate General in Scotland.
Could they go further then? Could we see more drug consumption rooms in Scotland, but could, if they are proved to work, spread down south as well?
As I said, our policy position is clear that
You're still completely against them. You're still completely opposed.
We don't think they do, and we don't think they're right. But
you don't think they'll work then?
So we don't, and we don't. We think that they condone illegal drug use, and that's what they run the risk of doing. But I think, as I said, I respect the independence of the Advocate General in Scotland to make those decisions, and we will respect that independence.
Another thing that's happened just in the last few days is the Rosebank oil field has got the go-ahead. Yesterday, you tweeted what the Climate Change Committee said, that you don't reach net zero by wishing it. Are you, though, just wishing it away?
Absolutely not. I set out my stall on this a couple of weeks ago. I want us to deliver net zero. I'm committed to net zero, but I want us to do it in a proportionate, pragmatic and realistic way.
By increasing oil and gas production?
Let me just say that brings people along with us on the journey. It's not the extremes that have polarised this debate, and saves families thousands of pounds because they were going to be forced to do things that I didn't think were necessary or fair. And that's what I've put a stop to. And when it comes to Rosebank,
but this won't help families in the slightest unless they happen to have shares in Equinor.
So I was talking about my broad approach to net zero, which is about not forcing families to switch their car or change their boiler before is necessary. That's saddling them with thousands of pounds of cost, particularly in rural communities. So I put a stop to that. But on Rosebank, let me address that. It's just a simple point of disagreement between the SNP and me. I think energy security matters. We will need oil and gas for decades to come. Even the Committee for Climate Change
to export.
Accept that.
To export in this case.
No,
mostly 80% of it to export.
Finished. We need energy here, and it's important, I think.
But 80% of it's for export. It's not going to come to the UK.
Here, because
it's all going to be tankered from the oil field wherever in the world needs it.
If I could just answer the question. So the question is, would you prefer to have energy from here at home or be reliant on foreign dictators? My view is simple. I think we should get it from here at home. That's good for Scottish jobs. It's good for the Scottish economy. It's good for tax revenues, and it improves our energy security.
How much tax revenues will the Treasury get from Rosebank?
I mean, you wouldn't expect me to comment on any individual company's tax things, but in general...
If it's going to produce about 500 million barrels of oil, how much tax does the Treasury get from that?
Again, you wouldn't expect me ever to comment on any one individual company's tax policy, because that would be...
But I'm not asking about their tax policy. I'm asking you how much the Treasury is going to make out of this.
The tax revenues for the UK government overall are significant as a result of the North Sea. That's a good thing for the country.
But isn't the reality of this that because it's Equinor that's developing it, Norway will probably make more money out of this than Scotland will?
So is your disagreement with it that the tax revenue is not sufficient, or is it the
thing is, you can't tell me what the tax revenue is, so how would I know? How would anyone know?
As a point of principle, having more economic activity happen here in the UK is good. It creates jobs. Do you want to get every last drop? Well, you say it creates jobs, and it improves our energy security.
You say it creates jobs. We're talking about 1,600 jobs at its peak for a £4 billion tax subsidy, effectively.
But I think
that doesn't seem like an awful lot of jobs for the amount of money.
But you're talking about one particular thing. This is about an overall approach.
Well, you mentioned the jobs.
Yes, because the North Sea supports over 200,000 jobs in aggregate.
This is talking about 1,600 jobs for a £4 billion subsidy.
This is about there's no subsidy, first of all, so it's wrong to say that.
Well, okay,
but this
tax
is about there isn't. We actually have right now windfall tax put in place on energy companies. It is one of the highest in the world. So again, it's wrong to say that there's a tax subsidy.
Just to finish off, do you think that the UK should be taking every last drop of oil out of the North Sea?
Yeah, I think the UK should focus on the North Sea because we're going to need
oil and gas. Should it take every last drop?
I mean, we need oil and gas for decades to come. So yes, I would much rather have that from at home because it's better for our energy security, it's better for our economy, and it's better for our jobs. Now, look,
and you think that means take every last drop out?
I think that is absolutely the right thing to do because that's better for our country. It's better for jobs. It's better for our energy security. And by the way, better for carbon emissions. When we import gas from somewhere else around the world, it comes here with 3 or 4 times the emissions that you would get from getting it here at home. So it's even better for emissions. So yes, I do think it's the right thing to do. It's the right long-term thing to do for our country, and that's what I'm always going to do.
Prime Minister, thanks for joining us
Thanks
on
very
STV
much.
News.